Okay, I just want to do a quick preamble. This ended up being the best ride of my life. I didn't know that as I was recording. But Fundy Coastal Drive, give it a try if you're in the neighborhood. It was outstanding. And today's the first time I really clicked with this bike. So yeah, with no further ado, onto the video.
Hey, welcome to Doc Rides. This is the very chill, often boring ride along and chat channel. I just wanted to take the Goldwing out and go for a little rip, and wanted to talk about how I've kind of had a bit of a revelation after recording the last video. I kind of listened back to it, and I kind of thought, geez, I sound ingrateful. I sound like an ingrate, because I was complaining about like just being tired from work and stuff. But I want today to talk a little bit more. Well, first of all, I want to give you a 1-year ownership review of this bike, because I've had it for a year, or just under a year, and full, spoiler ahead here, I'm pretty happy with it. But I also wanted to talk about having an attitude of gratitude, which sounds like a sermon, and it isn't. My face shield's all fogging up here. I'm also trying to train myself not to talk louder on the highway, because I noticed there is some clipping happening when I'm on the highway, and I've watched other people's moto vlogs, and they don't seem to have that same problem. So I think the trick is I don't really have to hear myself. The microphone is going to hear my voice the same at whatever volume. So yeah, let me give you a quick 1-year ownership review of this bike, and then we'll get into the attitude of gratitude stuff, because probably most people are just interested in the ownership review. So I bought this I think it was last September, like early September. It's the last day of August now. 30 days says September, June, and November. Nope, second last day of August right now. I immediately loved the bike because of how smooth it is. It is comfortable. I had a bit of an issue because I'm just about 6'3", 6'2.5", and I do find, because of the backrest on it, I feel a little bit cramped. I could change the seat and the backrest. It's not bad enough that I would change it. I forgot to wave, but I'm kind of into the vlog now, bro. Sorry, I'm vlogging here. I find it very narcissistic to record vlogs, by the way. I feel like, why should my opinion matter at all? But like I was saying last time, it gives you kind of that social atmosphere feeling, I guess, that you're kind of part of a community. So I guess that's why I'm doing it. So everything I say, take with a grain of salt, because I'm not an expert. So aside from it feeling a little bit cramped, my only other complaint was that it has beautiful power, but it's not very quick. It reminds me a lot. I used to have an E90 M3, and it reminds me a lot of that, the way it accelerates. Now that car revved up to, what was it, 9,000 RPM or something, 8,200, and this bike only goes to 6,000 RPM, but nonetheless, it feels about the same in terms of like torque and pull. So I'm guessing it's got a similar power to weight ratio. And I would guess acceleration 0 to 60 would be somewhere around the 4.6 to 5.2 second range. Not that I can necessarily feel 0.6 of a second, but just comparing it to other vehicles I've had. Which is, it's quick, but it's not quick for a bike, really, I guess, is kind of what I'm getting at. What I've really you notice I'm riding in Tour, but that would be in sport mode. Those are the only two complaints I have about it. What I love the sound of it. I love that it's not obnoxiously loud, but it is, you hear it. And it sounds like, well, because I guess it's a Boxer 6, it sounds like or flat 6, it sounds like a 911. I love the comfort of the seating position in it. Even though I'm feeling a little cramped, like I'm pushed forward a bit because of this backrest, the weight is way down low on this bike, and cornering and stuff is outstanding on it. It is so comfortable to ride. It's so confidence inspiring. Now, I haven't had to grab the brakes on this one like I had on the other one. I had a guy pull in front of me on the other bike, and the ABS, I'd never had a bike with ABS before I bought this, but the Kawasaki ZH2 has ABS. Well, what a difference that made, because I've locked up brakes before on motorcycles, and frankly it's pretty scary. So I'm happy that it has ABS, I guess. I also find, I know that there's kind of, they've been doing this forever on the Goldwings. There's like a linked brake system, so that if you're trail braking using your foot brake, your rear brake, it does link in the front brake at some point, and if you grab your front brake, it also links in the rear brake at some point. And I'm not sure how it works, but I was concerned that at low speed this would be hard to handle, but it's actually very easy to handle just using trail braking, and whatever it's doing a good job of it. I think that's nice. You notice I have the clutch. I don't have the DCT version. I don't think I'm a DCT guy. I have the DCT version of the Honda Rubicon, and that's fine, I guess, because I don't really like CVT transmissions all that much. But for a motorcycle, I kind of like, I don't know, I know it's slower, but I like going through the gears myself. I love the front suspension on this bike. I don't know why every company doesn't do, well, it's probably expensive. That's probably why. But for a touring bike, for a big bike like this, my God, the front suspension is outstanding. I'm gonna get a little wind on my face here to clear off the fog. This is my Bell helmet that I'm wearing, by the way. It doesn't have the pin lock system or anything, but it does have a visor that darkens on its own when you're in the sunlight, which I think is pretty neat. I thought there was a problem with the helmet, so maybe I just used that as an excuse. I bought a new Scorpion carbon helmet, and I was planning to do the motovlog setup on that helmet, and then I put a Senna on it, and then I was like, this is the best helmet I've ever had. I can't screw it up with the Senna. I think it's better than my Shoei that cost twice as much. It's lightweight. Yeah, I mean, it's full face, it's not modular, so, you know, it's like apples to oranges. But, yeah. Anyway, that's just an aside. One other thing that bothers me with this bike is the Apple CarPlay system. Because I actually use it, I listen to, I like listening to podcasts and audiobooks. You can see it's not on now, and the reason is because I didn't want interruptions coming through the headset, but I think I have figured it out, and every year I'm going to have to refigure this out. So the trick is you turn off Bluetooth on your phone. Alright, so if anyone's struggling with this, I think I've got it down to a science. You turn off Bluetooth on your phone, then turn on the bike, then turn on your headset and wait for the headset to connect, and it'll say like headset 1 or whatever up here, and then wait until you hear the radio, then plug your phone into the little phone USB thing in here, and then it should start Apple CarPlay about 75% of the time. The other 25%, I don't know what's happening. I'm complaining about a feature that I've never had on a motorcycle before, so that sounds kind of ungrateful again. But that's just it's just the way it is. I don't know, I'm used to it in the car. And this bike is made for going on long rides. And sure, you can just like Bluetooth to a helmet and forget this system completely, but then you can't control it with the infotainment system. So I understand for the new ones they have wireless Apple CarPlay, but I'm still not sure how the connection would work, because it has to connect to your helmet and the phone. Surely there's technology like some sort of artificial intelligence that can happen, that can tell the bike which one is the headset and which one's the phone, and just make it work. But I don't think that existed when this one came out in 2022. Gosh, it's a nice... You can come just about to a full stop without putting your feet down. It's so well balanced. Now this is a pretty rough road, so I'm just going to be careful and watch for deer. Other than those things, once in a while you get this clicking feeling from the front end, but it's never caused any issues. And I saw one of the guys, Goldwing Moments I think it was, posted a video about his handlebars came loose in Newfoundland, I think. And I was worried it was that, but it doesn't seem to be the case. It's just when you're on a certain type of surface. The other thing I thought it might be is just little rocks getting kicked up into the front end. I'm just taking her really slow today. This is the Hammond River beside us, or what's left of it. Gosh, I think I went on this ride last time. What a boring... See how there's... I don't know. I know it's really hard to tell on a GoPro, like a landscape thing, but there's very little water in the river. Oh, it's so sad. I did take this ride last time. Shoot, sorry guys. We'll go a little further this time. We'll find some other stuff to look at. Yeah, so I gave you all the negatives on this, but the reality is, if I could take 3 months off and go across the country or go to the US and just explore North America, there's no way I would do it on any other bike. This is it's so nice. And use the price. I didn't realize how expensive the new ones were. The price of this was not insane. It didn't have high miles when I bought it. I think I'm up to around, I don't know how to change that, that's just my trip kilometers, but I think I've put on 2,691 kilometers since getting it last year. So it's not like I'm riding it a ton, but I do take it to work quite a bit. And yeah, that's mostly what I use it for, actually. I haven't done any long trips this year. The funny thing is, so work update. So this is going to change. The problem I've been having is that, like, a lot of the activities I love are summer activities. I do ski in the winter, but I don't like it when it's bitter cold. I'll ski when it's like, -5, -10. When it's -15, -20, I'm not, and I'm talking Celsius, I'm not into it. It's too cold. So my problem has been that in the summer, because there were 5 and sometimes 6 of us doing my job, and there were always 3 away at any time, because over 2 months everybody has to take 2 weeks off. It's just the way our schedule is built. So when you're in, so my 2 weeks would be great, but then when you're in, it's so bumpy, my voice is shaking. When you're back at work, you're working like 1 in every 3 weekends or 1 in every 2 weekends. And then quite a few weeknights too, right? The same ratio, which really limits, because I couldn't do a ride like this. I can ride the bike into work if I can get the headset to connect, but but you have to take quite a few phone calls and stuff, and to be honest, when I'm on call I take the car because I'm nervous about fiddling with the helmet, and man, call me a wimp, I don't know, but that's just the way it is, baby. Some things will never change. Well, that's not true. Things did change, because I was saying last time I did submit my request to come out of the subspecialty that I'm doing, which is the procedural side of my job. And I'll miss it, you know. I'll miss the patients, and I'll miss the staff that I was working with. But my request was sort of approved, and I think it's for the best. I think I kind of got the best of both worlds, so it worked out well for me. I feel a little bit bad for the remaining guys, but I had told them I can only do this for 10 years, and I've been at it for 15. They just have to hire. At some point, you just have to hire somebody else who can do the job, and there is a guy who's interested. So, you know, my opinion is that at some point you have to take care of yourself when you're sick. And since that decision's been made, I'm feeling a lot better. So the decision is, I'm going to continue doing the daytime work, and if they are desperate, I will cover call, because I don't want to, like I said, I felt guilty leaving them hanging, but you know, ideally not. Ideally they won't need me to do call at all. For the procedural side, I'm going to double the call that I'm doing for the general side, the basic job, which is busy call. I mean, you're up all night when you're on, but it's less frequent, right? So there are, I don't know, 13 people doing that one as opposed to 5 doing the other. And I was doing both, but not a lot of the general call, so now I'll be doing a lot of general call, but that's okay. I enjoy that job. It's I've come to the conclusion that this sounds really let's see, there's no water there. This sounds really self-deprecating, but I don't mean it to be. I think it's just the way it is. I remember watching, like, I think it was like Jurassic World or something like that, Jurassic Park 2, 3 maybe. And they were talking about how, you know, some people choose to be astronauts and some people choose to be astronomers. And look, I've been doing the astronaut job, but I've always been an astronomer at heart. I like to think, I like to pontificate. I'll be honest, like, I feel like I really help people in the other side of my job. And it's like a proven thing that I can not, like, do no harm. That's basically the calling for medicine. And in that other job, it's basically a do no harm job. If you're good at it. If you start missing things or you're working too fast, you'll do a lot of harm. It's an important job, but it's not. It's something that is scientifically proven, that you know how to do. You're trained to do it, and you know you're going to be able to do it. And if there's something that you don't know, well, then, you know, that's your failure point. But you can always educate yourself if you know you don't know it, and that's the important thing. But with my procedural job, it's something new every time you're on call. There's something that you've never done before that comes up, and you have to do an emergency. And it could be somebody. One night it was a guy bleeding arterial blood out of his stoma, and I had to try and find my way to his stoma, and I couldn't do it from the inside because he was in shock and had no blood vessels to find. So I figured, I can do it from the outside and ultrasound the vessels and then poke them and inject thrombin into them. And it worked. At that time it worked, but it doesn't always work. And sometimes you do harm, and sometimes people die. So last time we went left here, I'm going to go straight to Titusville. It's scary. I don't like hurting people. I didn't go into this job to cause harm, and I wear it. I don't wear it well. Every surgeon has people who have died because of what they did, or because they couldn't do it fast enough, or whatever. And that's that's part of the job, I guess. But I have a hard time living with it because I have expectations of myself that I'm going to provide the best care that you can get anywhere, and I'm going to be a good person, and I'm going to be empathetic and all that stuff, and I can't do it all, you know, with that procedural part of the job. I couldn't do it. I was losing my empathy. I was starting to like resent, you know, of course you deal with people from all walks of life, right? And a lot of our patients are IV drug users, and they're not always in their right mind when you're dealing with them. And I started to resent them, and I started to say, well, then don't call me. Like if they would say, you know, if they'd swear at me or whatever, I'd just say, no, I'm not helping you, which is not. Jesus wouldn't do that, right? Jesus would be empathetic, I think. I mean, he flipped the tables in the temple, but that was different. I don't know. There must be a funeral. Oh no, it's not a church anymore, it's a thrift store. Or maybe it's both. The temple. We're selling stuff in the temple. Anyway, I'm not going to go in and flip the tables. Another non-Christ-like thing. Yeah, I'm trying to just be more... Well, the whole point is that if I'm doing less call, I'll get to ride more and get to fish more. And Jack is playing golf now, and I'll get to play golf with him a little bit. And all that stuff is like fun for me, and it's the kind of thing that make up a happy life. And I just want to be a happy person and a good person, and not be miserable all the time. And I've given what I can give, and I think people get it. People are getting it. So that's, you know, that's a positive update. So we talked about the bike, and yeah, I would recommend 4.5 out of 5 stars, I would say. We talked about the job. So now I want to talk about the attitude of gratitude that I was telling you about. So to talk about this, I got to talk about a friend of mine named Todd, who was a year ahead of me in medical school. And Todd was the nicest guy. He was older because he'd been a science teacher before he went to medical school. And he was 10 years older than me. Not 10, I guess 8 years older than me. And just one of the sweetest guys you ever met. Really, really kind, intelligent. It was just that he was like an adult in the room when we were all kids, you know what I mean? But he was never judgmental or harsh. He was a nice guy, but he was like married, I think, when we were in med school, and I was like 20. So when I came through, the way you do it is like your last 2 years of medical school, you do a clerkship, and you go and rotate through different specialties, and you have to write exams at the end of each specialty that you rotate through. So it's a lot of studying and a lot of like clinical work, and you're basically doing scut work for the doctors. At the time, x-rays were on film, so I had to run down to radiology and either get the films looked at or take the films with me, and we'd review them as a team and then take them back and make sure the radiologist agreed. It was kind of a weird system, but you do get exposure to everything that is being done. So like if you're doing surgery, you know, back then if there was a chest tube or something that had to be placed, you either placed it with supervision or you watched somebody else place it, and that kind of thing. So one of the harder rotations is internal medicine. It's just because it's so busy, because anything that's non-surgical, typically coming to the emergency department, is an internal medicine consult of some kind. And internal medicine covers everything from like cardiology to nephrology to rheumatology, to all this stuff. And so Todd and I both came back to St. John, New Brunswick to do our internal medicine. He was an intern and I was a senior resident at the time. And we had a blast. We had so much fun together. And I remember I had to do a report on Crohn's disease, and I spelled it wrong through the whole PowerPoint. I spelled it Trons, C-H-R-O-N, instead of C-R-O-H-N-S. Anyway, that was my stupidity. I don't know. I guess autocorrect wasn't as good as it is now. Anyway, but Todd and I were pretty good friends. And then he actually came back here to work as an emergency doctor. We're in Titusville now. This place is so pretty. Salt Springs up that way. I'm actually doing this drive later to go to Sussex, or to go to Moncton today. But I could do it in the truck because I got to pick up the dirt bike, which is leaking gas, and take it to the guy who fixes them. Anyway, Todd was a super good guy. Worked in Emerge, and when you, like, I am in radiology, so when you're in radiology and he's in Emerge, you guys are on the phone constantly. And so we talked each other through, oh my gosh, so many things. There were the tax changes with Trudeau that we were both like, what in the hell? And there's half of them are still here, and we're just like, I don't know. It just, those creamed us. They creamed our retirement accounts. Then there was the pandemic. There was like all the people in the hospital wouldn't get vaccinated that got, and we were, we just go on about like the nuances of like, well, they should be allowed to work. It's their body, their choice. But it was fun. This is funny. He was a good guy to talk to. Really good guy. The exact same type as my father, as it turned out. And I remember seeing him, and it was just like, it was heartbreaking because he loved life so much. He loved his family, he loved his kids, and he knew the end was coming. But, I sat with him for a long time and talked to him about my dad, and I said, look, you're going to have, you're a young guy, you're strong. Dad got 18 months. You're going to get longer than that. It's cold comfort, but he had a really good year. Like, he was fine for a year. He was okay. And yeah, I think he took that to heart, because every time I saw him after, he would talk about that. He kept working. And he actually saw me when I hurt my eye. He saw me in Emerge like a year after this all happened. He was such a lovely guy. Anyway, he just passed away just 4 days ago. And his obituary talks about how he played golf, how he sailed, loved sailing with his kids, how he went to church. And it was funny, I never talk about my faith at work because most people I just assume are atheists. But Todd was, he was, I think, Anglican. And I'm so happy that he had that faith, and that I'm grateful for my friendship with him. I love the guy. We weren't like, we never hung out on the weekends or anything. We didn't know each other's families very well, although Chrissy had met him a couple times. But he was just a great colleague and a great friend. He had a great attitude. When we were applying for a residency, he wanted to do ENT, and he didn't get in. And I thought, oh, he'll be devastated about not getting into ENT. But he just went into family medicine and loved it. And he made the most of it, and then went and did Emerge. Just a great guy. Just such a good attitude. Everything was about other people. He lived to be kind. And he loved his job. And I didn't, which was funny. I do love my job. I don't want to say I don't love it, but I didn't love the interventional side of my job. Because like I said, I was just getting bowled over. But this was just recently when I saw him last time. And he asked how it was going, and like we were in the middle, there was like a stroke coming, and there was 2 emergencies on the table, and he said, how's it going down there? And I said, you know what they say, if you love your job, you never work a day in your life. Ha ha ha. And he laughed, but he said, That is true. I never feel like, after I got into medicine, I never felt like I worked a day in my life. What a sweet guy. Anyway, I'm grateful to have been his friend and to have learned from him. Like my father, he set a great example of how to deal with terminal illness. At some point, we're all going to have a terminal illness, whether it's cancer or whether it's 5 seconds after you have your heart attack. We're all going down there as deer on the road. Get off the road, guys. It says loud horn. Yeah, I just wanted to say how grateful I am for that friendship, and that in turn has made me very grateful for. So my family's away this week. Chrissy and Jack are away, and I got in a bit of a fight with Chrissy. Here's the thing. I was on call last weekend. It was extremely difficult. The cases were difficult. I was up all night Friday night, which is the worst, because when you don't sleep the first night, then I started getting, there are all these wildfires here, and I started getting very short of breath, not realizing that I just needed a puffer, and I thought it was in heart failure. And I didn't want to tell her, because I was like, I'm not in good shape, I haven't been exercising, all I've been doing is working, something's wrong. And I couldn't sleep the second night, because I was out of breath and I had to sit up. Third night I realized I needed my puffer and got some sleep, but by then, you know, I'm running on fumes, and Chrissy called and said, oh, the guy working on the deck sent us a picture. I'm supposed to be in Nova Scotia right now. This is why I'm out for a ride. The guy who's working on the deck sent a picture, and the chair covers have blown off. Can you go fix them? This is like at 10 o'clock at night, and this is the Monday night, and I'm so tired. I feel like I'm dying. Like, I feel terrible. And so I said, well, yeah, I'll go out and fix them in the morning. She said, but the cushions will get wet. She's like, I always have to do this. Do I have to do everything? She didn't even say that. She didn't say, do I have to do everything? But that's what I heard. You know what I mean? That's how I interpreted it. And I just said, you know what? The hell with this. I'm not going to Nova Scotia to see you guys. I need to recover next week. So then I canceled our hotel in Nova Scotia, where she is with Jack, and he was doing basketball camp. And then I felt like such a prick. When I finally got some sleep, I felt like, what an asshole I am. So I called them and apologized, and I'm so grateful that she accepted the apology and didn't just divorce me on the spot. I'm grateful to have somebody who understands that it's not all sunshine and roses. Sometimes life makes you cranky, and sometimes you're a dick. And yeah, I'm very grateful for my family. I'm grateful for Jack, who is a genuinely good guy. He's a little bit, like all kids, distracted. But he's not as bad as most, I would say. He loves his phone. He loves, watching videos on YouTube and stuff. But he loves car spotting, and he loves, am I supposed to take that turn? I can't remember. No, we're not taking it. He's just a good kid. I don't know what else to say. He's a great people, right? And it's good that he, what's that, there's a Rudyard Kipling poem, and it's something about, like, being a man, and one of the lines is about if you can walk with kings and peasants or whatever and treat them all the same. And Jack does do that, and he's Christian, and he got baptized, and I think he believes that is the way to Silver Spring. We're now in Upperton. I'm not going to go on the dirt road. We'll go a little further and then I'll end the vlog and turn around. But yeah, I'm grateful for that kid. He still hangs out with me. Like, we share pictures of cars that we see, and we play golf together. Like, I suck at golf, by the way. I've been trying to get better. Been going to the simulator, and it does help, but then I don't know, I get this like nervousness when I'm hitting over water and I can't hit a ball straight. It's just strange, and I'm new at it, right? I don't know. Funny enough, I bought myself golf clubs because I was like, I'm gonna get good so I can play with them. But of course, Jack is playing like my old junior clubs, and he's 5'7" now. And the golf clubs arrived, and he's on summer vacation, of course. And you know where this is going. Let's see, where can I go? Maybe I can go to Sussex and come home on the highway. Yes, I can. That's fun. So the golf clubs arrive, and they weren't cheap. They were Callaway XR clubs, which are like a good beginner set, but like you can grow into them. They're like beginner to intermediate, basically. And I get this call, thank you so much for the golf clubs. And then I couldn't tell him they're for me. I said, oh, you're so welcome, buddy. They weren't supposed to be his. So I've bought some used clubs for myself in the meantime. But you know, he is good. He's a good little golfer, and I just love him to death. And of course, we've got our puppy Stella, not Estella, Stella. And she's a rescue dog from Nicaragua. Somebody rescued her and then didn't like her, so they gave her away. So, you know, she's a good companion. While they're away, I've been hanging out with the dog, going for walks. We went for one walk. I'm not a big dog exerciser, but she sleeps on my bed and sits with me when I watch TV and stuff. Anyway, I'm just grateful. So that's about it. I don't know. I just wanted to, well, tell you about my friend and then tell you about this bike, which is great. And the other thing I'm grateful for, like, I know it's a lot of work, but I feel like, you know, we're always just one bad news event away from becoming broke, but I'm grateful for a job that pays well. I don't want you guys to think I'm not. God blessed me with the ability to remember information in an academic setting, and that's basically how I ended up where I am. I could remember pretty much when I was younger anything that anybody told me in an academic setting, and I studied, and he gave me the gift of willingness to work hard and not being distracted and focus and all that stuff too. But I would have never gotten into medicine if my brain was this the porous limestone it is now. But you know, thankfully I can still remember most of the stuff that I learned. So it's a good job. It pays well. You'll never become some people. I mean, you're wealthy compared to like people who work as like cleaners and stuff. Like, it's not. You're never going to be a billionaire doing it. It's not a job where you're going to be the CEO of a company kind of thing. But I am so grateful for it because there are so few other things I could do effectively. And you know, my dad was an engineer, and it takes so many people skills to do well in business as an engineer, and I don't have them, as you can probably tell. Yeah, I'm just eternally grateful for this life. It's been so good. It allows me to do things like buy a Goldwing, or have two bikes at the same time. I love life, and I don't know, I just wanted to say that. Sounds, I'm not having a Charlie Sheen manic moment or anything. I watched the last video and I was like, why are you complaining, dude? You have it so good. And I do, and I know I do. So I guess on that note, I'll leave you. I hope you enjoyed the scenery today. This is a pretty ride. I don't actually know where I am. I'm somewhere on the back roads between Upperton and Sussex. Yeah, just look, take care of each other. You know, let people know that you're grateful for them, I guess, would be my advice. And just enjoy your life. Enjoy what you got. I know there's ups and downs, and I know things are hard. The housing market's hard. It's hard being young right now. You're also, if you're a product of here, you're probably pretty confused right now, because everything you've been told, if you're young, is that the most important things are like social justice and all that stuff, and all of a sudden the real world is coming back. And the real world is that you got to be competitive with people from other countries when it comes to chemistry, physics, biology, pharmacology, medicine, whatever it is you're doing. You can't rest on, oh, I went and volunteered in Africa for We Charity for 3 months or whatever, or oh, I organized a Black Lives Matter protest, or none of that is the real world. And it's really hard because your educators have told you that that's all that matters, and there's this cognitive dissonance that happens when you enter the world and science is more than climate change or more than whatever the talking points were that you were supposed to know. And you know, it happened to us to a lesser extent. We learned things that suddenly became unimportant. Everything that we learned in history, do I go to Norton or Sussex? Let's go to Sussex. They say history is written by the victors and all that, but they've redacted a lot of the history that we learned. Because it's, you know, racist or colonialist or whatever, and that was hard for us to be accused of being racist for saying what we knew to be true about, you know, like, I'm not saying like we weren't taught blatant racism, but things like you know, when the earliest settlers came, the indigenous were vicious. They would skin them alive and stuff. Well, that's been erased from the popular storytelling, and the other thing that we were taught that is very dissonant is you need proof before you make a statement, and I still believe it, but I don't. This younger generation, it's been a weird time for us too, right? Because if you ask for proof of something, then you're accused of being a denialist. Like if it's about climate change or if it's about whatever, you know, you're gonna be entering back into that world where this little social experiment is coming to an end, and just be prepared for it. And if I can say anything, try to laugh about things that this is my best advice. When you have cognitive dissonance about something, laugh about it instead of getting upset about it. You say, wow, this is pretty crazy. Because it's going to seem crazy, but you can get on in the world. Just be smart. Work hard. Try to be grateful for what we have. I'm looking at Indonesia, and it's like exploding, and there's anti-government protests. And you know, the Indonesians now, look, the cost of living is different, obviously, but they're furious that government officials or members of parliament or whatever are making like $6,300 a month. And here, that doesn't sound like a ton of money. But it's a different world, obviously. And just be grateful that you're, you know, if you're in a safe place, if you got a family, that's about it. Enjoy your week. I probably won't make another one of these for a little while, but it's been fun, and I'll talk to you later. Drive safe, ride safe, take care. Bye-bye.